Welcome to Lesson 5 in Unit 4, Seeing, Hearing, Smelling, and Touching Like a Scientist. In this lesson, students will answer the question, what do scientists learn by sorting? In previous lessons, students have used their senses and tools to make observations. They're now going to describe properties of objects and try to sort them based on the similarities and differences of those properties. For the engaged part of this lesson, you will refer students back to Spencer and the rocks. You'll go to the part of the book where Spencer is sorting his rocks. You're going to discuss the different ways that Spencer arranges his rocks and ask students what are some ways that you might arrange things. Have them think outside of the box, not just about rocks. How do they arrange things in their everyday life? Have them turn and talk and then share out their answers. In the Explore part of this lesson, you're going to have groups sort different rocks. To start, give each group about 5 different rocks. Once each group has about 5 rocks, you'll have them arrange their rocks into certain orders. You don't need to give them specifics on how they should arrange them, but prompt students with these questions to get them to think about how they would sort these rocks. Ask groups how they're arranging their rocks, and ask them about the different categories that they're putting them in. How many categories does each group have? In the Explain part of this lesson, we're going to direct the conversation to have the groups talk about the different properties that they use to sort their rocks. If any group said that they sorted because a rock was pretty, you'll need to press them and ask, did everyone in the group think that that rock was pretty? We really want to get to observable properties that everyone can agree on, like the size, color, shape, weight, and texture of the rock. You will then guide students through the Rock Properties Datasheet handout. Here is an example of how you could lead the discussion. As a class, you would decide that everyone should sort their rock by color. So at the top of this page, they'll circle the word color. You will then have groups organize their rocks into different categories of color. For example, this group had a category for white rocks, black rocks, pink rocks, and gray rocks. They wrote how many of rocks they had of each of these colors. And then if your students are ready for it, have them write the color of the property that they chose. If students aren't ready to write out the property that they chose, you can have them verbally tell you. In the Elaborate portion of this lesson, students will complete another sorting activity. You will give each group one of the bags with the feather, bouncy ball fabric, aluminum foil, marble, and wooden block, and have them sort these objects into different categories. They can use the properties of color, texture, or how it's used to sort the objects. In the Evaluate part of this lesson, you can formatively assess students by asking each group to describe the properties that they used to sort the items. You can ask students what other things we sort in everyday life, and why is it important that people sort things? By the end of this lesson, students will have described the properties of objects by using their 5 senses. They will have used the properties that they have described to sort these objects into different categories.